Hey, what's up guys? This is RAFA with RAFA Racing. Welcome again to the channel. We are today in VIR Raceway here in Virginia. But we got Shaun's GT3RS here. He's still trying to figure out what he's going to do with his brake situation. He's a McLaren 620R. He's just looking for some form of solution to replace him. I drove it last time at Royal American. It's actually just absolute beast on the track. I did bring the new 570S GT4 that I bought. I also have my 570S GT4 that I'll primarily be driving. I have two more cars. I have the 600 LT. So Al, he's having issues with his 765 LT, some tuning and some upgrades that he's done. So he's still working through those. So he's actually going to drive my 600 LT. And then we bought the 675 LT. Since there's four of us and we're so far away from home, I wanted to make sure we bought a backup car. So really excited to get the day going. Looks like the weather is going to be perfect. Low 60s to low 80s. So it should be a really nice track day. All right, so it's day one of the track event. It's actually a Monday and Tuesday event that we're at. Where we're staying, the pit lane condos. The garages are below us, facing outward, but this is actually pit lane here. And this is the front stretch, which is actually a pretty incredible and convenient location. This should be a pretty fast, pretty high risk track in some areas, but really just more of a really challenging technical, getting used to the speed through some of the corners and some of the esses. So really excited to get going, and hopefully we can get used to it pretty quickly. From my first session, the car ran great. Right now it's up on the air jacks as Travis, our tech here, is inspecting to make sure everything is good with the car. And one thing that we did do is that we bottomed down a couple of times, and I think that the suspension needs to be tightened a little bit. So Ray took out the gray one, the charcoal color one, and that one's set to the absolute max stiffness. He didn't think it was too stiff, so we might just tweak this one a little closer to that and see if we find a sweet spot for me. And ultimately, we may end up with just the ultimate stiffest setting that there is.
My name is Ray Ramirez. I've been with the RAFA Racing Club for a year now. My driving history, I have a Porsche racing license. I did two-club racing for many years at various tracks. What I like about the community, we're all family and have a passion of cars. Been really exciting. Makes you bolder, faster, more refined. We're here today at VIR, a track that I recommended the group come out to. Fabulous track, very technical, high speed. So what I'm trying to do with the club is to bring every member out to the various clubs that I've been to. But one of the goals we try to do, in addition to develop good driving skills, is to go ahead and see how fast the flat time you can set. It's not always the most important part of the program, but that's an indication of how well you're progressing.
So I just got back from driving the gray GT4, trying to compare what the difference is between one and the other in terms of the power, acceleration, balance, suspension, everything. And the biggest thing I could tell was just the stiffer suspension had the car planted more. So coming out of the corners, it felt faster. Going into the corners, I felt more planted and stiffer. Sliding a little bit less, so I think we're going to actually get the white car closer or right at the exact same settings. Seems to be a pretty good setup, and this here was just more of a stock setup that we need to kind of tweak and get it to the right settings for us. So excited to see how this one feels once we make those changes. I think Travis and Tank should be able to do them tonight. So in terms of times, I was actually a lot faster in that one, even though it's warmer outside, tires were hot, and I don't know exactly what necessarily the difference was. It just felt that I was launching out faster or better on that one with the difference in suspension. So the best time I was able to do in the white one was a 209 207, I believe, and that was a little bit traffic, so it might have been like 207 and a half. But that one, I was sub 2.6, I was 205 and some change. So I was 4 seconds or 3.5 seconds faster on that car than I was on this one. So I think that suspension actually made a difference. A couple of sessions getting a feel for the track, it's actually a pretty challenging, really fast track. It's super busy, a lot of corners, some blind elevations, up and downs. A lot of the challenging areas are just in really high speed, which is, it's kind of a little bit different in some of the tracks. Like Coda, for example, the challenging part at Coda is the sharp corners. It's really the ones where you're coming in hard, but if you lift off, that's actually the worst thing that you can do, because you lose traction, your car gets underweighted, and you lose control of the car because it's uphill. So the car is up, down, left, right, and you're doing this at about 130 miles an hour. So that's one of the really fun but challenging parts of the track, and hopefully that translates to better lap times across just all the different tracks that we're going to. So it's the end of the day here. As I said, the cars are running great. We're getting ready to go get some dinner, come back and work on the cars and see if we can get the suspension sorted out on this one, so we can test them out tomorrow and see how the car drives. But for now, the track is cold. Everybody's kind of gone in, and hopefully we can find something to eat and be back at it tomorrow. So it's day 2 here. It's Tuesday at the VIR Chin Track Days event. We stiffened up the suspension all the way to as close as stiff as we could, but it felt a lot better. The car was not as bouncy. It was not as loose on the back end. So really happy with the way that he drove and the way that he actually performed. I was almost 3 seconds faster this last session than I was all day yesterday in that car. So it definitely helped a lot. And hopefully once we get the exact brake kit and all that, we'll end up having similar types of both cars. But for now, I'm just really happy with the way it went. All right, so I just got back from taking the 600 LT out. It was absolutely incredible. I love the car, the way it drives. It had a lot more power coming out of the corners, down the straights. I want to say that I was probably at least 12, 15 miles an hour higher in the back straight than I was in the other cars. So it's definitely a big difference. However, it was compromised compared to the other ones around the corners. So the handling on the corners, as great as it is, it could not compare to the GT4s, which is, that's their big thing, is the handling the corner in the suspension. So I actually was fastest laps in the 600, just primarily due to the higher horsepower. So super excited to see what the other cars do with the sprint tune with a little bit more horsepower and see a little bit more bite behind it. But overall, great success, great weekend. We had a great time. Cars ran awesome, and everybody had a good time. So we're loading them up now, putting some air pressure to lift the cars up. About to put them up on the trailer and call it a weekend. Thanks for watching. Please give us any comments, any feedback. Everything's appreciated. Hit the subscribe button, notifications, tell your friends, tell your family. Thanks again.